Hello and welcome to TTV News broadcasting on Tay Ninh radio and television station with some latest events in Tay Ninh province. And now we come into details. Ladies and gentlemen, recently the Provincial Steering Committee for Epidemic Prevention Control held an online meeting with representatives of districts, towns and cities on the fight against COVID-19 in their localities. Chairman of Tay Ninh Provincial People's Committee Nguyễn Thành Ngọc, head of the Provincial Steering Committee for Epidemic Prevention Control, chaired the meeting. It was also attended by Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee Nguyễn Thành Tâm.
In Tay Ninh Province, from May 31st to now, 10 recorded cases of COVID-19 infection are all imported, in which 6 cases on June the 4th alone. It's forecasted that the number of positive cases from imported people will continue to increase. 2,127 people have been isolated concentratedly, and 141 people have been medical isolation in the whole province. According to the Department of Health, the biggest risk of epidemic outbreak in Tay Ninh comes from industrial jobs, specifically workers outside the province. Currently, there are nearly 38,000 employees in Củ Chi working in Trang Bàng and Gò Dầu industrial parks. Meanwhile, through inspection, many businesses haven't been proactive in epidemic prevention and control. At the meeting, the locality said that they have promoted the role of community COVID-19 teams, self-managed residential groups in managing and grabbing information about people returning to their localities from epidemic areas. High-risk forces and enterprises have been sampled for rapid testing for localities affected by epidemic. It's also necessary to strengthen the inspection of F1 and F2 and implement timely localizing and handling. Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, directed that the province's current epidemic prevention and control spirit is to closely assess the situation, not being subjective and extreme, affecting economic trade. In addition, it's necessary to correct and strictly manage high-risk places, such as industrial parks and residential clusters, improving isolation capacity, ensuring no cross-contamination in the isolation area, reviewing immigration procedures at international border gates. Concluding the meeting, Chairman of the Provincial People's Committee Nguyễn Thành Ngọc noted that from the province to the grassroots, they have done very well in controlling the epidemic, quickly implementing tracing and localizing. However, currently Tay Ninh has 4 main risks of infection, including illegal imported people, those from other epidemic-affected localities to Tay Ninh province, the source of infection in industrial jobs and worker accommodation areas.
Tay Ninh Border Guard is always proactive in protecting the peaceful border against the attacks of the COVID-19 epidemic, in which Samar International Border Guard Station has strengthened the epidemic prevention control measures, continuing to patrol and control to prevent people from entering illegally.
It manages and protects the 14.5-kilometer-long borderline with 7 landmarks, 29 secondary ones, and 6 characteristic markers. The station had 2 guard points and a Cầu working group maintained dozens of field posts against the COVID-19 epidemic. In the past few days, apart from patrolling and monitoring the borderline, Samar International Border Guard Station has coordinated with the People's Committee of Tân Lập Commune, Tân Biên District to propagate and guide people to prevent and control the epidemic, helping detect illegal entry. Despite facing difficulties in living conditions, officials and soldiers at anti-epidemic checkpoints always perform their duties well. Recently, at the post number 4, officials and soldiers dug the wells themselves to get water for daily life. Difficulties are overcome, tasks are always completed. Tay Ninh border guards are always ready in any situation to achieve the most effective anti-epidemic work.
Last time round, the connection of Tay Ninh newspaper, representatives of manufacturers in Tay Ninh City and Yum Châu District, as well as the former student rep of Little K School, 1989-1990 school year, visited and gave gift to checkpoints of the COVID-19 epidemic prevention control in the area of reported gas stations, including Tân Phú, Samat, and Trang Riek, located in Tân Biên District. With a total value of nearly 100 million Vietnam dong, including returns of essential necessities and medical supplies, the delegation offered gifts to the forces performing dual tasks at the key checkpoints of the pre-approved border gas stations. Representatives of border gas stations and anti-epidemic checkpoints thank the people's love and support at the rear. This sentiment is the motivation to have officers and soldiers of the units always feel skills, steadfastly on job for all day and night, keeping the homeland peacefully, safely, and firmly. In order to ensure quick and timely screening of suspected cases of SARS-CoV-2 infection, following the direction of the Ministry of Health on the screening of people returning from industrial zones with infected people, Tay Ninh has deployed the random screening and testing for residents living in border areas from May 2021. The Department of Health shall assume the right responsibility for and coordinate with the Provincial Border Guard Command, the People's Committees of Border Districts and Towns to conduct random screening and testing for residents living in the border areas, daily report on results to the Provincial People's Committee. Relevant departments, agencies, and people's committees of districts, towns, and cities are always in a state of on-duty rapid response, immediate isolation as detecting any infection in the community. Localities coordinate with the Department of Health to take samples for testing as quickly as possible. This is one of the contents which continuously directed by the Provincial People's Committee when the fourth outbreak of the epidemic broke out. Facing the rapid spread of the COVID-19 epidemic, the industrial parks in Tay Ninh province have strictly followed the direction of the chairman of the Provincial People's Committee on fighting against the COVID-19 epidemic. Epidemic prevention measures have been actively implemented by companies and closely monitored.
On industrial parks economic zones, export processing zones, factories and enterprises in and outside the industrial parks must comply with regulations on epidemic prevention and control, self-assess the level of safety, and update the map of COVID-19 safety. According to the Tay Ninh Management Board of Economic Zone, the unit has coordinated with the People's Committees of localities to conduct regular inspection and supervision. If any business doesn't meet the criteria for epidemic prevention and control, it must immediately suspend its operation. The 5K principle is thoroughly applied by companies in industrial zones. Apart from measuring the body temperature of employees right from the entrance to the industrial park and the headquarters of the companies, all employees are required to make a medical declaration. Tay Ninh currently has 5 industrial parks with a large number of workers working daily. In addition, the companies must ensure the environment is disinfected neatly, ensure safety criteria according to the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health for production and business establishments in the context of COVID-19 epidemic prevention.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the process of implementing the National Target Program on building new style rural areas, the role of people is very important, and their contribution and local mass organizations will contribute to speeding up the completion of the new style rural criteria. Tân Hội Commune Tân Châu District is focusing on directing mass organizations and mobilizing people's strength to join hands with the locality in building a new style rural area. Mr. Hà Tiến Thịnh, a resident of Hội An Hàm Lịch, Tân Hội Commune Tân Châu District, is one of the people who actively join hands with the locality to build a new style rural area. When the investor builds roads and irrigation canals, Mr. Thịnh is ready to donate his family's private land in order to complete the project on schedule. Mr. Hà Tiến Thịnh said, during the process of mobilizing the people of the whole hamlet, I also donated land to build a road because the road was very curved. I'm a veteran, a soldier has been here since the liberation, so I know how to land is. I mobilize people to work together and make this road. Mr. Phạm Đức Cảnh, chairman of the Veterans Association of Tân Hội Cam Miêu, Tân Châu District, also said, the Veterans Association of our Cam Miêu has actually mobilized members to participate in program of TayNinhTV join hands in building new style rural area, civilized city. The Veterans Association of Tân Hội Cam Miêu has many typical examples, donating land, cash, contributing to the construction of new style rural areas. Tân Hội Cam Miêu has a roadmap to build a new style rural area, striving to achieve it by 2023. Currently, Tân Hội Cam Miêu has achieved 11 out of 19 criteria. For 8 criteria that have not been met, Tân Hội Cam Miêu is very interested in the traffic criterion. In the area of Tân Hội Cam Miêu, there are still 120 pathways, which are hamlets, inter-hamlet and interfield roads, that need to be concreted and asphalted to meet traffic criterion. Apart from capital from superiors, Tân Hội Cam Miêu also has to mobilize 10% reciprocal capital from the people for rural infrastructure construction. Regarding difficulties in implementation of mobilizing the reciprocal capital to build roads, its proportion has been currently mobilized over 200 million Vietnam dong. This capital source has not been met. The locality will continue to strengthen propaganda and mobilization of the people, promote the role and strength of mass organizations, explain to the people to understand. Then they will agree in the construction of the new rural area, especially mobilizing reciprocal capital to build roads in the Cam Miêu. From 2019 up to now, from capital sources allocated by the superiors and mobilized reciprocal capital, Tân Hội Cam Miêu has built 100 cultural houses and 5 traffic routes, compared with the remaining 120 roads that need to be built and upgraded. It requires the locality to make more efforts in building a new style rural area in which promoting the role of unions and especially people so that they join hands with their communes to fulfill the new rural criteria.
That's all for today's news. Thank you for being with us and goodbye for now.